Hello and welcome to our show. There you go with your big bad self.
Good evening.
Good morning and good afternoon, wherever you are in this
Yes.
beautiful planet Earth. Thank you for joining us for this edition of the
All things
My-Dee
My-Dee show.
Show.
It's a late one tonight, you guys.
This is a late one. It's late for us, but
We normally do morning. And so I'm like,
we've taken a little bit of a break out of necessity. You know, it's the summertime. People
you
are
got
traveling.
kids.
You got kids in the summer and you got to, occupy their attention because every other minute is I'm bored.
Exactly. Then
What
you're
are we
boring.
doing? And you're boring.
That's what my mother-in-law always says. If you're bored, you're boring.
Oh, I thought you meant the kids are saying to you, I'm bored.
Oh,
and
and you're boring. No,
like,
we're saying,
wow.
then you're boring.
Right. What are you going to do about it then? Don't be boring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go do something.
We're so excited for this next guest.
Yes.
We have invited a dear friend of mine. She is a star of stage and television and film. Just to name a few of her credits, I'm going to read it because there's so many. Some of her credits include Lethal Weapon, Are We There Yet? Girlfriends. She did the film Marshall opposite the late, great Chadwick Boseman. She also did The People versus O.J. Simpson, American Crime Story, where she worked with our MMC brother, Dale Godboldo.
I loved that
Wonderful. Yes,
series.
she was so great. That series was awesome. But she's more than an actor, director, producer, and writer. She is a loving daughter, wife, mother, and friend. Everybody, please welcome the one, the only, Keesha Sharp.
Hey, Keesha.
Welcome, Keesha.
Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's so nice to see your face because
Oh,
I honestly can't even remember the last time that we were in the same room together.
I know. I think it was 2019.
It was 2019. You're right.
Right
Right before everything just shut
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Either
Oh my
way,
goodness.
it's been too long, and I'm so happy to see your face.
Nice to see you too.
Have you always wanted to be in the entertainment business? Like, how did you end up getting
Where I am?
into? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I grew up playing clarinet, piano, and cello and singing. So I always knew I was an artist growing up. I was an odd kid in terms of what I mean by that is like I loved Barbara Streisand and I loved certain kind of music, classical music, where my peers, well, not my peers, my family, I say, my brother and sister were like rap music and all that stuff. They were hiding it because my parents really wouldn't allow that kind of stuff. But I still was the kid in my, taping, because back then it was cassette tape.
Right,
So,
exactly.
I would put it up to the TV when Barbara Streisand's one of my favorite movies, Yentl. So I would tape the music and go to my room and start singing it. Everyone knew I wanted to be an artist, right? But my mom still wanted me to go to law school and study law.
Of course.
And school, I did every musical. I was in everything that I could possibly be in. And then I went to the Boston Conservatory. But what I really thought was singing and theater was something I thought that I would do. Wasn't thinking about film and television at all. And then outside of school, get your agency. Eventually, I started to dabble a bit into television and really realized this first movie that I did, I just remember thinking I felt at home on the set. I remember telling my husband, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Here I am years later, still where I think I'm supposed to be as an artist. And when I'm on sets, whether as a director, as an actor, there's a reason that I'm on that set. Right?
Mm,
I love what I do as an actor, but it's not my purpose at all. That's not what I
right.
believe. This leads me to my purpose. I always think when I'm on a set, I'm like, okay, why am I here? There's some person here I'm supposed to be talking to. Yes, I love
Mm,
acting, or yes, I love directing, but I'm here because I'm spreading love and positivity, and I'm supposed to be here touching somebody in some way. And it always ends up being the case. Even when something comes through, when I'm going to audition for something, or I get offered something, and I might look at it and be like, I don't know if I really want to do it. I'm like, well, if it's coming as an offer, I'm thinking, okay, I'm supposed to meet someone on that set. I definitely think I'm where I'm supposed to be, but it's not why, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I love that you're making those connections with, professional like jobs,
Yeah.
career, and tying
mhm.
that into your true purpose
Yes.
in life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful,
Merging.
marriage.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely. And it gives you a larger
Higher
picture.
purpose. Yeah. Higher purpose.
Yeah.
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 Like, why am I here? I'm not here necessarily to, all about me, glorify me,
Yeah.
but you're there to share and you're there to encourage people and to be a light like you
Yeah.
are. And that's, we need more people like you.
There's been moments where I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. There's been
Mm.
certain times like I just want to go and live in the woods with like a farm. No, really, like it just,
Yeah.
I really do. I have those moments where
Yeah.
there's a
Same.
part of me that just wants to like just do my own, just be in
Garden.
Yes.
and stuff. I'm like, well, Keesha, you wouldn't be around someone. You wouldn't be doing the things you're supposed to be doing. Maybe the business gets a little stale or whatever, but that's not the purpose. The purpose are the people.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So not just the entertainment industry, but just in general, there's a lot
Yeah.
going on with people's lives, and they're heavy, heavy burdens that a lot of people are carrying. So when you're on a set, how can you spread joy and positivity and
Mm.
love? Sometimes it's
Absolutely.
a smile, sometimes it's a hug. Not really today because of COVID, but
It's like, ooh.
hurry up, you can't hug. Now you gotta like it's even hard to smile. You're like this.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
right?
Smiling with my eyes. Especially as a director. I'm telling you, as a director on set, we have to do the mask and the shield. So I remember I remember my first time directing during this pandemic. I thought, how am I gonna reach people like that? How are you gonna do it?
Yes.
But you're able to do it. There's something real about the energy that we have that you can still do that even covered up. So it still worked. I was curious if it was going to, but it still was a great experience.
Do you prefer directing or do you prefer the
Oh
acting if you had
no,
to choose?
I my ideal would be like Regina King or Jason Bateman or John Favreau, their careers
Yeah.
where they're doing both. I wouldn't not want to direct. I would not want to not act. Now I'm in now what we're in is trying to balance the acting and directing because I have lots of other directing coming up this year. But how do we fit in the acting between that? I'm okay with the balancing act of that. And so we'll see how it works out.
That's right. All
Yeah.
in God's hands. That's
Yeah.
right.
Do you want to talk about how you and Brad met? Mylin was
Oh.
reading somewhere that you were high school sweethearts.
That blew me away.
Well, not high school, but thank you.
Wait, it was a high school.
I'll take it. No, it's college.
Okay, we'll say okay.
College,
Still.
college.
College.
So the summer before I started my junior year, we met.
Okay.
And we were at King's Dominion. He was singing in the show, and I was singing in the show. I was singing in like the 1960s music. He was in the popular music show. People were trying to hook us up because they thought, oh, he likes you, that a young 19-year-old thing that we do, or 20-year-old.
Exactly right.
He'll be so embarrassed that I tell you this. But what happened was I went to watch the show, and everybody had been talking about Brad and Keesha. Ooh. And this guy comes up and stands behind me and puts his hand around my waist. It was, but I was like, excuse me, no, you don't do that. He didn't know what to do, so he just stood him. He was like, it just no, wasn't right. And
Awkward.
awkward. So, but we might have started dating maybe like 3 days after that, and then it's been 27 years. Like
27.
Wow.
Yes, God
27
bless.
years. We celebrated 24th married, 27 together. And he was working at Disney World, and I was in college. So we were long distance for quite a long time until right before we got married. which is crazy. People say, can it work? We're like, first of all, we don't have FaceTime. We don't have Zoom. We don't have
Exactly.
emails. We had a payphone, you know,
Right.
a beep. I think we had a beeper. Oh, he beeped me. So we can do it.
Yes.
You can do it. It's
Yeah.
if you feel like it's something special, which it obviously was, it's worth fighting for. And long distance can work. Yeah.
Absolutely.
To hear of marriages lasting, especially in Hollywood, is so rare these days.
Yeah. I think it's rare, period. Not even
Yeah,
Hollywood.
exactly.
Brad and I were talking about, because we talk about everything. We are talking about how people give up too soon. Now, and I'm not talking about the marriages that are violent or any of those kinds of things, putting those things aside.
Right.
I'm talking about just difficulties, right? There's moments where it can be hard, but what do?
Right.
You just say, I don't want to work at it. So let me go. We're so easy, especially today, where everything is so, I don't want to work at that, oh, it's taking too long. And I think we're like that in life because of it. So maybe a marriage is a little difficult for some people, and then you think, I don't want to work at it. But I think if you put a little more time, not a little more time, sometimes it's a lot of time, something that's worth it, things can last. And be careful getting into it to make sure that person is right before you make that commitment as well. And not just about money or status and that kind of thing. For me, God and him and me, like it needs to be, it's that triangle that we talk about. The closer we get to him, the closer we get together. And that's, to me, is everything.
It's huge.
Yeah.
I saw a post of yours that talked about Loving versus Virginia.
Oh, yes.
And so your husband, Brad,
yes.
is white.
Yes.
You spoke on how it has allowed you to have that relationship in this day and age. Would you want to kind of expand upon that a little bit?
Well, I'll first say that my stepdad was white. He was my best friend. I loved him. And so I saw growing up as a young Black little girl how bad it was in terms of my mom and dad being together at that time, in the early 80s. We would get stared at. And I got to say, I was actually quite embarrassed by it when I was little, because of the stares. And I remember being in a car and people would look in and I would want to go down in the car because of the way that they were looking at us. My mom was very strong. So my mom would stare back like, somebody was staring, she that was my mom. And they would be so embarrassed that they would look away. She's like, "Did you want something? Can I help you?" Right. And I saw that. So that was something that I grew up with. Someone staring at you. You don't have to, dwindle down. You stand up for yourself. That being said, I fell in love with someone that happens to be white. And we dealt with a lot of stuff. His family dealt with some stuff in terms of whether it was right for a Black and white person to be together.
Interesting.
Also, people would use the Bible, as some do, to, when you say unequally yoked, you're not supposed to be, they would use that in terms of, well, white's supposed to be white, Black's supposed to be Black. But once those things were explained by pastors that really understood scripture, it was like, oh, he's not doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? Because it was really coming from a place of, that's not right. So we dealt with that kind of thing. We dealt with racism. We dealt with some really scary things, to be honest, too. When we were in Boston, when we were in New York, people would be vocal. This is like late 1900s. Oh my God. It is true. It's late 1900s. Who says that? We were living in New York. We would pass people and they would vocally say stuff to us. There was like this gang of guys that were so angry that we were together that they wanted to fight. I just kept telling Brad, don't look at them. All Brad had to do was look him in the eye, and it would have been, who knows what we would be today, if we would even be. It was just really bad. And we still, today, we'll get those Facebook or Instagram posts about, I don't even need to repeat it, but really negative stuff about us being together. And it rolls off my back, really, because at this point, I don't care. I didn't even care before, but it was a little harder before to handle negativity about it. Today, it doesn't bother me the same way it used to. And I'm not trying to fight this fight. Like, your issue, not mine. I'm with someone that I love who happens to be white. It has nothing to be with I was choosing a white man or he was choosing a Black woman. It was literally about love.
Right.
period. That's what I want us to represent as a loving couple. And in
Mhm.
terms of Loving versus Virginia, we wouldn't be able to legally be together had it not been for that case. So we always remember that case because, you know, even my mom, I would have not known my stepdad, who was my father as far as was concerned.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know him had they not been able to be together, and so many friends and family that are biracial wouldn't
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yes, yes. And they are a beautiful, beautiful family. It's a beautiful, beautiful love story.
That
And
continues.
yes,
Amen.
that
Right.
continues.
Yes.
Just
And Solomon would not exist without us being together. That our
Right.
son is so special because he just is, and he wouldn't be here.
Solomon. He's a smart cookie. And he's flying airplanes now.
Yes, he is. It's
He is
crazy. That's a
it is
whole God story
Wow.
for you. I tell the story a lot where I was deathly afraid of flying after. I wasn't always like that. It happened slowly, and it came from a place of being a little dishonest. I was dating Brad. Brad was flying me down to see him at Disney World, but my parents didn't know, right? And I didn't want them, they would be like, what are you doing? Flying down? I was in college, but I didn't want them to be disappointed or think I was doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing. I would get nervous that I was flying because they didn't know where I was, and no one was praying for me. And if something happened to me, they wouldn't know. That's how
Wow.
it started that small, and then it grew into about 15 years of this kind of, I was slave to fear, really. I stopped flying. I started turning down jobs. I was fearful. I thought when I got on this plane, I was going to die. And if I did die, which was really rare, I would cry the whole way. What ended up happening was during 2016, Brad was going to Europe and he wanted me to go, and I would never. It's like, I'm not flying there. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I had this epiphany. Yeah, I could see epiphany. Either you have faith, because I was good at talking about it, right? And helping others with whatever they were going through. But I was struggling and failing on one end of my own faith, where I clearly heard God say, you talk about it, but you don't live it. And then that moment, it was like a switch turned on for me. I told Brad I was going to Europe with him, and I really meant it. I never thought I would ever get over flying because I had created all these horrible scenarios of death. But that moment was the moment of clarity, that it was a switch for me. I went, and within 3 days of that decision is when I got Lethal Weapon, which another thing was God.
Wow.
Because I had gone in on it like 3 months prior just to casting, and that was it. I let it go. A friend of mine had gotten it. On Wednesday, I get a call. I pick up the phone. They're like, oh, you got the show, Lethal Weapon. I couldn't understand. That didn't make sense. Well, what am I doing? And they said the role that I was starting on Friday. I had no chemistry reads, no network thing, nothing. I went from just being put on tape for the original casting to shooting the show on Friday. And it literally, for me, was God, because it was like he was ready, holding all these blessings, and I wasn't ready for them. Until I was ready, he was like, okay, boom. And all these things started happening. I could not have done that show without flying. I had to fly all over the world for that show.
Wow.
I would have been able to do that with the fear that I had.
Right.
So that being said, Solomon, I never shared this fear with him, ever. And when we had to fly, which was rare, and he was on the plane, it was always like, wow, this is so much fun. Oh my God, love it. And then I'd be like, Lord, please, Lord, give me. And then to have him love to fly and want to be a pilot, and he wants to go into the Air Force, this thing would never have happened, I think, had I shared the fear with him. And it's so important what we tell our kids.
Yes.
And fill them with hope and faith, and not fear and despair and hopelessness. And he wouldn't be doing what he's doing right now had I shared that with him. And the blessings that were released for me would not have been released because I wouldn't have been ready for them. So that's the story I tell everybody. And if you knew how bad I was about flying, Brad would pay for tickets for me to go, and I would not show up.
Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't show up. I wouldn't. Japan. I just would not go. And so no one thought I would ever get over it, but God knew better.
That's an amazing story. He just knows, right? Timing and it just clicked.
Yeah.
This past year and a half has been challenging for so many people.
Yeah.
What were some of the ways that you and your family stayed busy stayed healthy, stayed
Yeah.
positive,
Yeah.
in both your home during lockdown and
Yeah.
what have you, and also professionally.
I have to tell you, during the pandemic, there was about 6 months where nothing was going on in our
Right.
business at all. So I wasn't working for 6 months. We took the time to say, well, we have time. So what should we do? I love riding bikes. It's one of the things I love. I just love riding a bike. It makes me feel free, and I love walking, and I love working out. So I was like, well, let me do some dancing. And listen, I love YouTube. And I was discovering like some great workouts, some amazing people that are doing their thing on YouTube. I joined this Steezy.com, which is this dance. They teach you all these choreography on all levels. I freaking love that.
You look amazing doing it, by the way.
Brad and I were like, let's sing together. We would watch something on television. We'd see a song. We're like, we like that song. Let's sing it together. So we were finding ways to be proactive in terms of staying busy. We didn't have a hard time in terms of being together all the time because we're always together. Because I was very, so I don't know, I was just talking to someone who said couples have never spent that much time together.
Exactly.
And that was really difficult for someone to spend all day together. And for us, it was like another day.
Right.
Really. Right. All the time. There was nothing new to that. So it felt kind of normal in that sense. The thing that didn't feel normal was the possibility of working was gone. It was hard. Our industry shut down completely, and the unknown, whether it was going to come back, what does that mean? Because it is what we do.
Right.
And is it going to come back? And what is it going to look like when it comes back? So we had some uncertainties, but faith in it. It's going to work out. That's right. It's got to work out. It's just going to, and it did. The difficult part of that, I have to say, was dealing with my mom the last 6 months of her life during the pandemic, right? So we couldn't travel to go and see her because they had basically said you can't travel, and California was so bad. She passed away on August 8th, will be a year ago last year. That part of it was difficult. Well, I was talking to someone just the other day. Who was I talking to? I don't remember, Keesha. This is what I did myself. Our generation is dealing with something we've never had to deal with something like this other than September 11th, right?
Yeah.
Our parents' generation dealt with, and their generation before, and let's not talk about before.
That's true.
Have dealt with so much, from world wars, polio, to the lack of civil rights, to civil war, to slavery. There's so much stuff. I think that I don't mean this to say it's not that we've been spoiled, because that's not what I mean, but we're a generation that has never really had to deal with something. So it can feel overwhelming, like, my goodness, what is going on? Is the world ending and all these things? Maybe, I don't know. But you know what I mean? That it feels so heavy. Yeah. And I want to remind people that there's been some horrible stuff in history.
True.
That it felt the same way that we're feeling today. We get through it and we get better. And that's my hope and faith, regardless of maybe difficult to get through this, or whatever we want to call it. I have faith that the war is won. So
that's right.
Yeah, to me, that's hopeful. And if it gets very hard and heavy, and especially 2020, and a pandemic and race stuff and all that stuff it just felt so heavy. And I had to step out of it, to be honest, because I felt myself becoming angry and bitter, and that was helping no one, not myself, not my family. So I had to find ways to get through those heavy periods of time and come out hopeful. It was a hard year for everybody.
100%. Are you focusing on anything coming up? Like, do you have a project that?
Yeah, I have. I'm filming a movie. I can't talk about the movie, but I'm filming a movie.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
And then I'm shooting a show as a director, Our Kind of People as a director, Charmed as a director, and Superman and Lois as a director.
Go, girl.
And then I'm dabbling in Deedee's world, where I'm voicing, but I still can't talk about it. I can't talk about it.
That's so exciting. So many blessings.
Thank you.
I know that you mentioned earlier about you imagine yourself stepping away from the business and like being in the woods and then maybe like having a farm and growing your own
Yes.
vegetables and stuff. As long as I've known you, you've always been really conscious about what you put
Oh,
into your body, your
yeah.
health. I remember when you guys visited Clifton and I in San Francisco when the babies were little. After I had my second, actually, no, after I had my first and second, was losing so much hair. And Keesha told me, eat kimchi. He said, eat fermented vegetables and all that kind of stuff. And then you started something called Fishers of Health.
Yeah.
Can you just elaborate on that? And is that still something that you and Brad are doing?
It used to be very difficult at the time to find gluten-free stuff and what information on how we can take care of our health, right? So we were like, we need to start a website called Fishers of Health, like, you know, Jesus was fishers of men. And so that's why we call it Fishers of Health. And so we wanted to have this portal where people can come. We're not doctors or anything like that. We just, the information that I know, because I do so much research to put it down so someone can come and say, oh, what can I do for hair loss? Or what can I do for bloating and for my intestines? Because your intestines are so important. That digestive system is everything for your body. And so that's how it started. It started out with wanting to help others find natural ways when maybe the medical world wasn't working for them, or they wanted to do it before they wanted to go into the Western part of medicine, naturally. So that's where it came from, a place of wanting to help others, because we felt that we were helping ourselves with learning all this information about health in your body. That's how it started. I had even thought about getting my certification for nutrition, because it's just something that I really love. And I think it's so important for us to take care of our bodies, because the healthier we are, the healthier we are, right? Not just body, I mean everything, mind, spirit, and soul. So we still do it. We don't do it as much because now it's everywhere. Like you can find anything now. You can go on and find organic food at Walmart to
that's so true. Target, exactly.
Information is everywhere now. So we felt like the need wasn't as much as it used to be, because now people really understand, not that they always follow, but they really understand what you put in your mouth. Everything you put in your mouth.
I know.
So if you really think about everything you put in affects you, it's going to affect you in a good way or a bad way. I think it will help. Just like I always say, with water is so important. Just like when we take showers and clean the outside of our body, it's just as important to clean the inside of our body. And the only way you can do that is with water. So think of it as
I got to get better at drinking water.
That'll save you. I just wanted to be able to spread as much information for people to stay as healthy, because it's so much better to prevent an illness than it's harder to heal it once it's there. Not
Absolutely.
that you can, though. You absolutely can, but it's easier to prevent.
I certainly appreciate all of the information, but now it's just my job to take that information
and apply it.
Apply it.
And it's hard. Listen, you're not alone. It's a lot of us know the right things to do. It's just sometimes it's difficult to do it. It's a slow process.
And it can also be, I'm just being lazy, if I'm honest. Right? You know, let's be honest, right?
Balance it out, right? Eat well as much as possible, so you can then be like, I'm gonna eat so bad on Friday, I cannot wait until Friday. And then do that thing and then eat well again. And there's so many things though now today that didn't exist 10 years ago, where if you have a sweet tooth, I don't have a sweet tooth, so I like eat no sugar. So, but I have no sweet tooth. But,
incredible.
But I don't have,
but that's why you look the way you do. You look
right.
Amazing.
Oh, but I don't have a sweet tooth, so it's not hard for me, and I recognize that, and a lot of people do. But there's so many like sweet stuff out there that's with natural sugars, with no sugar, with monk fruit, which is a low glycemic sweetener. Monk fruit is really yummy, yummy, yummy. There's other options.
Monk fruit. What is do you chop it up and put it in your
coffee? Hold that thought right there. Hold on.
Oh, see, what did I do?
Since you asked, so you can find this. I think you'll find this like at Costco and at all the places. Everybody carries it. It's called monk fruit.
Okay.
And you can. Oh my gosh, you guys! please. This is very low in sugar, and it's sweet. It's very good. And it's
But it doesn't taste like chocolate.
listen, you can make some chocolate with this and it will be so good. And here's the thing too, Lily's, I think you can find it at Target. Yeah, you can find it at Target. So Lily's is okay, hold on.
Lily's. That's a flower, no?
No, hold on.
We're learning.
Okay, you can't say you can't find chocolate. Okay, so this is
Lily's.
okay. Lily's.
Okay.
You can find this at Target. You can find it at Whole Foods, but it's sweetened. Some people don't like the taste of it, but you can't taste it in the chocolate. Stevia. It's sweetness of stevia, but it has all the chocolate bars from milk chocolate to dark chocolate. It also has some of my favorites, which is chocolate covered almonds, but it's no sugar, and chocolate covered caramel, but no sugar. And they're in a bag, and you can find.
I thought you said you don't have a sweet tooth.
I don't have a chocolate tooth. I got a chocolate tooth. Don't get it sweet. But I don't actually like it when it's sweet. So I like dark chocolate, you know, but really
it's a little bit on the stronger bitter side.
Bitter side. Yeah. I like bitter. And I like spicy stuff. Like that's my thing. Spicy and bitter, not the sweet. Although I'm not spicy. Well, no, I'm spicy, but I'm not bitter. You can find substitutes if you really need it. And they have, they mix the two together, and that's called Swerve.
Oh, the monk fruit and the, you got it all in your pantry.
Oh my gosh. She's like, just wait 1 second. I'm going right over here. I'm like, what are you doing?
Brad uses this in his coffee.
Swerve.
And it's they mix it with monk fruit and stevia together, and it's actually very good. He likes it. Brad has a sweet tooth. If he likes it, it's a good thing. Yeah.
Let me write this down. All this stuff.
Dude, she covered it all.
She sure did.
All the things. Why don't you share with all of our listeners where they can find you, where they can follow you and listen to all of your great advice?
I think all my things are just my name, Keesha Sharp @ I don't even know how to say it, y'all. I just know, like, it's on Instagram. It's my name. I don't know if I'm supposed to say something else. Keesha Sharp, SHARP.
And you have a website as well, too.
Yes, I do.
You. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just look up Keesha Sharp and all of the
Exactly.
things will pop up.
Yes.
We can't wait to just see all of the wonderful future endeavors that your adventures that are coming up, and many
Absolutely.
continued blessings to come. Keesha, you are definitely a bright light in this business, in this world, and like Mylin said, we do need more people like you.
Absolutely.
In this world. Can't wait for our families to have our
annual
annual
8-hour
meals, 8-hour breakfast turned lunch. And then, it's time to pick up the kids.
That's so fun.
That happens. It happens a lot.
It totally happens.
So thank you guys so much. And
thank you
doing this. Like, I know you gave me love, but I'm giving love right back to you. So thank you for doing this, because you're spreading love your way in terms of what we call a podcast. Right? It's a podcast. That's what we call it, right?
It's a little show.
Like a little show.
A show. I would call it a little show. You're doing something very positive, and I thank you for that, because we need that. We need it out there, because we don't need to talk about how many negative things that are out there. We need more light, and you guys are doing that. So keep going. Keep going.
Thanks, Keesha. It was a pleasure having you on here. We will hopefully get to talk to you even when you're done with all your other projects, maybe sometime down in the future, and see how that's going.
Yeah, I would love that, because I'll let you know how it went. It's going to go great.
It is.
Amen.
It's going to grow great. Amen. That's right.
Amen. Yes, and we will let you know what we think about the chocolates and the milk.
Okay, please. Yeah. Oh, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. All right. God bless you guys.
God bless you. Thanks, Keesha.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, goodness, guys. That was so good. Keesha is so sweet. And I love how she talks back and forth to herself, like she has her own conversation. And it was such a fun interview. We hope that you guys enjoyed all of the fun information and just some of the rich, just stories that she was able to share. Remember to check out all of her social media. She said it was Keesha Sharp on everything, I guess. It's always funny whenever we ask, what's your social? They're like, I think it's
It's my name.
Yeah. Thank you guys again for watching. We truly just appreciate your support, and all of those of you who have subscribed and who have left some really cool comments. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us. We hope that you stay tuned, and we will see you next time. Peace.
And faith. Oh, I should have done my nails.